Is science-based lifting interfering with your gains? Is it doing you a disservice? Is it inherently synonymous with training with low effort, or more intelligently put, training like a big pussy? I don't know. Let's get into it. So first, let me set the mood here so we can have a nice little chat, and then let's get into it. So for today's topic, the reason why I want to talk about this, which is kind of funny, I went to the gym yesterday. I train at a commercial gym. There's a 24-hour fitness right by my house. That sucks, but it works and it's convenient. And this was actually one of the first times I'll just be honest, I walked by some dude and watched him and was kind of like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Just do a dumbbell row or whatever it was. I cannot remember the specific exercise, but it seemed like he jerry-rigged this, certain exercise, and it just seemed to be giving very, very low effort from what I saw. I don't have full context. Maybe it was a warm-up set, whatever. And it seemed like he was trading off efforts for, I guess, having the best exercise setup and execution, et cetera, et cetera. And for that particular individual at this particular time and space or whatever, I do think it was doing him a serious disservice. But going back to one of my original questions of, does it inherently synonymous with just training with low effort? And no, that's obviously no, okay? But I do think when you see some of these guys, and maybe again, they're smaller, maybe they're new to the gym, and it seems like they're spending all their resources on crafting this perfect exercise, and then the effort goes out the window when they would be better off picking a much more simple exercise, a dumbbell row versus some iliac pull down, chest supported, blah, 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 and they would probably have better gains with the more effort exercise, which is almost always going to be true. So before I get lost like I do in every single video, let's break down that question. No, it obviously does not. It's not inherently run synonymously with low effort, okay? Does that sometimes happen? Sure. And for those individuals, I do think they're kind of missing the point of this. So that's where it's always tricky, and you have so much bickering. I swear to God, and I know other industries have the same bickering, dick measuring contests, blah, 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 polarizing standpoints, and then you have to become even more polarizing and go even further into your camp or tribe or whatever, which is so damn annoying. And I'm very much team no tribe. I follow all the tribes. I like to kind of get in and get out, but I personally, and maybe it's because I'm a loser, loner, or whatever, I don't really want to belong to just one individual tribe, because I think there's good nuggets of information. And I've always been like that. Even when I went to school, I had skater friends and video game friends and things like that. I like to kind of pop in and pop out where it kind of pleases me, which kind of sounds a little selfish, but I have a lot of different interests. But whatever. Okay, I'm going to go too far off topic. But yes, you have this one side, this continuum right now. Very, very science-based. Every single exercise seemed to be weird MacGyver. They can't just do one machine for the machine. They got to add an attachment to it or do some kneeling thing to make it more optimal, okay? And then you have the bros over here that's just like fucking grip and rip and just give some good effort. And I think that there's value on both sides. Where do I land right now? Again, if this is the middle, I am slightly more science-based when it comes to like exercise selection, execution, programming, and stuff like that. But there's a reason. I'm fucking corny. I don't know if I have effort tattooed on my fucking hand, because it's so lame and corny with a king's crown, because effort is king. I don't care what you're trying to get in life, whether it's a physique or a job or schooling or education, whatever. It's going to require fucking effort. So this is like the hard thing for me, because it's like my knee jerk is like, there's always effort. What the fuck are you talking about? Effort's number one. You ain't going to get shit without effort, okay? But again, just because I saw this yesterday, I'm like, oh, okay. This is what some of these, the broer side of the continuum is talking about. It's like, God damn, dude, this guy just seems to waste all of his, I like to say resources, because it's broad enough to like encompass, it's everything. It's effort, it's time, it's this and that. So it seems like they're spending more resources on picking the perfect exercise, and then they don't have any resource left of effort. So if you are someone that belongs to that, where you're like, oh no, if I set up this perfect angle and this and that, I can stop at a RP 5 or 5 in reserve or something like that. No, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's fucking bullshit. And you are a little, I'll stop. It still requires fucking effort, okay? I think most of us know if we're talking about like hypertrophy, it is going to be proximity failure. That is going to be the most important variable, okay? So I do think all things created equal, the guy that's giving fucking, again, that 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 effort every single session, that's more science-based. I like to be more, again, evidence-based, which is taking science. It's also taking your own anecdote and evidence and experience, blah, 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 blah. I do think they'll have slightly better gains, whatever that looks like, whatever metrics and KPIs we're using, as opposed to the guy that's just kind of a dumber exercise selection, picks something and then goes balls to the wall. Yes, I do think all things created equal, being a little bit more evidence and science-based is going to do you favors. But if you're someone that's either like science-based low efforts or bro and high effort, the bro high effort. Again, effort is always going to win. In my opinion, always going to win. Now, yes, if we're talking about stacking days and days and days, yes, the downside of effort is, can you do too much? Yeah, of course. You can hit that limit, you can hit that threshold and go over the edge, whether that means you're not recovering for it, you get injured, blah, 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 blah. So that's why, again, it's like, I want to hone in my effort and know when I need to go 10 out of 10 and know when I need to back off. But yes, 1000%, the bro giving more effort is going to get better results than the science-based pussy lifter that's giving 4 out of 10. But again, I don't think that those things are necessarily synonymous. So this is why it's always so tricky. And it's like, I guess both sides are kind of right, depending on the example that we specifically use, you know? And again, if I had to choose, I would like to be a little bit further on this side, high effort, but still being smart about the exercises that we choose, the selection, and blah, 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 blah. But yes, do I see a lot of people getting a little ahead of themselves when it's like, all right, I'm going to do, again, let's use this iliac pull down. It seems like we always use that to target this lower lats because they think some magical gains fairy is just going to make their lats look like Ronnie Coleman. It's probably not going to work like that. And here's another thing that we just don't talk about. It's just like, what do you like? So maybe that guy was just, you know, I like trying different exercises and stuff. I don't mind doing the setup. It makes it fun and engaging for me, which keeps me showing up for the gym. So that's why it's like my brain that overthinks everything, and I understand a million different variables, can kind of understand some of these things where I don't know if some people don't really view this, or they don't understand all these different variables and whatnot. But I think it's totally okay to fuck around with some of these exercises. And yes, if I had my own personal bias, it would be like stick to pretty simple. I wouldn't worry about, you know, doing all the fancy, very, very specific targeted bias hypertrophy exercises where you have to MacGyver machines. Just fucking do that machine, figure out the setup that works well for you. But I don't think you need to bring, you know, daisy chains and carabiners and stuff like that to the gym. Again, but unless you want to, and I will say, unless you're still going to give fucking effort, all right? And this is where, for me, it kind of depends on the day for how willing I am to, like, I keep using MacGyver, but MacGyver these machines to make it slightly more biased for the outcome I'm looking for. Some days, I don't want to be bothered by that, to be honest. Like, and I'll say, yes, if I set up the bench at this right angle, blah, 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 let's say it objectively gives me 2% more gains. But right now, it's 20% suckiness of setting that up versus 2%. That doesn't equate. So I'm just going to stick to a fucking lat pull down because I don't really give a shit. And then on other days, or maybe a training block or something where I'm like, you know what, let's play around with it. Let's really, really hone in and bias this. One, from just I just want to see what this does. And two, because again, maybe I want the novelty of it. Maybe I don't mind setting things up. Maybe there's not many people in the gym, blah, 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 blah. And it's not going to get in the way of the effort I'm about to produce for that exercise. Then maybe I'll go for it. But to reiterate, if setting this up ever steals resources from efforts, it's not fucking worth it. Okay. All right. So we're at 9.5 minutes. This is my normal kind of just talking off the cuff, going all over the place. But hopefully this makes sense. And just to kind of wrap things up, no, it's being a science-based lifter is not always the case. It's not always synonymous with low effort. I have seen that. Like I said, yesterday I saw that. And if you are those people watching it, just please understand that you're not going to biohack your way out of giving effort. And I think that's why the bros kind of get mad at this, because it is just, God, I don't want to say, yeah, you're kind of being a fucking pussy, in my opinion. I think you're trying to find the shortcut, the hack, the easy way out. And it just seems like we're trying to find that with everything in life, and it is annoying. So stop shying away from efforts. Lean into effort with everything in life. Science-based effort, bro, pump, whatever, fucking effort. You're going to have to give effort, 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 effort. So if you're stealing any of that effort from your setup or whatever your fancy thing is, you are doing yourself a disservice. If you're not, then I don't think you are. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. As always, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any topics that you want me to cover, doesn't matter what it is in the fitness, health, supplementation, workout realm, blah, 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 drop them below, shoot me a message, whatever. Also, if you're interested in coaching, I'm going to leave all that below as well too. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you.